Hello, friends. Today, I would like to share with you certain physiotherapeutic approaches which we commonly use for the rehabilitation of a stroke patient. So, the main idea of making this video is just to provide an overview or an idea how physiotherapy can play an important role in improving quality of life of a patient after a stroke. And if we talk about the guidelines which we follow for the rehabilitation, these are basically certain principles that have been devised after a lot of extensive research by people all over the world, which helps to improve the survivor's quality of life. So, of all these, the latest ones, which are given by American Heart Association or American Stroke Association 2016, they say basically whenever you are treating a patient, you have to undertake intense mobility task training. Every human being just likes to be independent, likes to be moving around. So, once a stroke has happened, as far as it is possible, we have to give them intense mobility task training, and it has to be individually tailored. So it's not like one shoe fits all. It has to be made according to the patient, and it should be in an enriching environment. It should be a stimulating environment, and and apart from other things, we also have to pay attention to their speech and balance training. So basically, we divide the therapy into three divisions. One is inpatient care, then we have outpatient care, and then is home or community based. So let's take each one of them one by one. In inpatient care, we say early is always better. So as soon as your patient gets a stroke attack and the neurologist gives you a green signal, we can start with early rehabilitation of the patient. So what all is included in this? One of the very important aspect here is prevention of skin breakdown or contractures. So for this, it's very important that the patient is positioned properly, and the limb which is in a total flaccid condition or which has lost its tone, or we may say which has become loose, it has to be well supported, and regular stretching exercises, etc., whatever is basically required for the patient has to be started in the bed itself. Another thing that has to be taken care is the development of deep vein thrombus. So basically, we have to keep the limbs of our patient moving, whether they can do it themselves or they require little assistance or they require complete assistance. That has to be decided upon after seeing the patient. Okay, and then we can make use of various pneumatic compressions or elastic compression stockings so that the edema does not develop in the peripheries. Another important aspect is taking care of the bladder function in the hospitalized patients. So basically, usually the patients are in catheters. So intermittent catheterization and prompt voiding and training for the pelvic floor muscles. There are a lot of other techniques also which can help our patient, and they have to be started in the acute setting. So here's a link to one of our videos where we have described various ways with pelvic floor exercises can be done. So whatever suits your patient, the therapist will definitely guide them. Another important aspect is taking care of the hemiplegic shoulder. So according to the guidelines which are given, it is very important that the patient and family should be educated before discharge, because a lot of times we see patients with dislocated shoulders, and that has arisen because of wrong lifting techniques by the caretakers. So it is very important that we treat the patient, but also we should guide the family members and the attendant how to help the patient in transferring. And then there are use of supportive devices and slings, etc., and definitely one has to ask, or the therapist has to advise the patient or the caregivers which exercise needs to be done and which need to be avoided. Another important aspect in the inpatient care is keeping the chest clear. So there are many physiotherapeutic techniques which are made use of to keep the lungs clear of the secretion, to improve the saturation level of the patient. So that has to be added in the inpatient care. Now next we come to another important aspect, that is outpatient care. So once the patient is stabilized and the neurologist or neurosurgeon, they feel okay, it's a time to discharge the patient, then the patient comes in a regular OPD basis for a rehabilitation setting. So what all do we consider in this? One important thing is prevention of falls. Yes, definitely the patient had a stroke attack, the limb was affected, so there will be difficulty in walking that might lead to frequent falls. So it is important that the patient should be guided about the right exercise program to reduce the fall. Their risk of falling should also be evaluated, and the relevant information needs to be given to the family members, and similar home modification has to be undertaken. So again, in this aspect, when we are treating someone in the OPD basis also, the entire therapy thing has to be customized, where we are taking care of the balance issues also and the fall prevention issues also. And how do we assess what my patient needs? It's basically on the basis of clinical examination of the patient and the use of various scales through which we are able to define the current state of the patient. So when the patient visits us in the OPD, we evaluate them over various diagnostic tools. We come to know their present condition. There are certain scorings which are being done, so they basically provide us with the baseline, and then we design a therapy program for them, and then continue giving them the exercise therapy session. And after certain time scales, for example after 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or maybe 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, we re-evaluate them over those scales and see how much my patient has improved or the progress has plateaued. So basically there are many therapeutic exercises and devices which we can make use, like Boshu balance board, soft disc, gym ball, standing frame, hip abductors, etc., to improve our patient patterns. Okay, so important is the patient should always be well supported and he should feel secured within a rehabilitation setting. Now coming on to another very important aspect is post-stroke depression, including emotional and behavioral state. So definitely the patient has gone through a lot, and obviously the caregivers, they also go through a lot. So it is very important to understand the psychological state of the patient, and accordingly we have to modulate our therapies. We have to keep encouraging them. We have to set short-term goals for them, and on the basis of their progress, long-term goals for them. So the therapy session should not be very pushy to make the patient feel bad about their state, but definitely it should be an encouraging session so that they feel they are progressing on a daily basis. Okay. And another thing is post-stroke osteoporosis. So definitely there is a reduction in physical activity that will lead to risk of falls, that will lead to osteoporosis. So regular exercise program will take care of these complications. Coming to the cognitive and memory impairments, after a stroke, whatever the area of the brain is damaged, its associated cognitive function is definitely affected. So most of the time in OPD, we see the patient is not responding to us well, not performing exercises well, despite giving a lot of instructions about the exercise, it's not being followed. So that should really click into your mind that my patient might be undergoing certain cognitive or memory impairments. And sometimes even the attendants also inform you, like they are not recognizing us, they are again and again asking for food. So always ask for these cues. So once you get it, okay, something is not working well, then a detailed neuropsychological evaluation becomes really important. So physiotherapist tries to understand which all domains, which all functions, memory, attention, executive function, working memory, etc., what all is being affected, and similarly a therapy on those lines is being added to improve their quality of life. So we can make use of a lot of adjunct therapies like virtual reality training, verbal cues, visual cues, etc. So basically anything can be tailored according to the patient's assessment and patient's need. Coming to limb apraxias, so there are a lot of strategies which can be used. For example, task practice, mental rehearsals, supportive therapy, etc., which can be used to help a patient to initiate the use of their limbs. And similarly, we have hemispatial neglect also, where the patient is not able to realize that the other half of the body also exists. They totally ignore one side of the body or even looking onto that side. So again, we can use a lot of training techniques like visual scanning, virtual reality, limb activation, mental imagery, etc., for treatment of this particular disorder. And coming on to spasticity, that is one of the primarily prime feature that needs to be taken care. So there are a lot of physical modalities, there are a lot of techniques like postural training, task oriented training, splinting, etc., which can be used, but again I would say evaluate the patient well, establish a baseline, and on the basis of that baseline, design a custom made therapy session and keep re-evaluating the patient. Okay, so once a spasticity is being reduced or it's being taken care of, then mobility training, intensive mobility training, I would say, that needs to be started. Group therapy is really one of the nice approach where patient tends to get encouraged by seeing the fellow patients. So, and cardiovascular exercising, strengthening interventions, mechanical assisted walking, etc., rhythmic auditory cueing, biofeedback. So, whatever seems to be suitable for your patient, that needs to be added and given to the patient. So, there are a lot of modifications which can be done for each and every patient, and there are many techniques, and Pilates is one of them which can also be used in these patients. So, it all depends how my patient's baseline performance was. Okay, and as I said previously, mechanical assisted, so we have partial body weight support, treadmill walking, which helps to improve the cardiovascular fitness, also improve the walking patterns of the patient, helps them to ambulate early, so it has a good psychological effect also, and it's being widely used in India and most of the countries abroad. So this is another therapy to improve the mobility of the patient. Now, coming on to upper extremity activity, this is something that really takes a lot of time to get the full function. So, it is very important that in the beginning itself we start paying equal attention to the hand functions also. So, there are a lot of techniques which help us in improving the hand functions, which like constraint induced movement therapy. Then there is robotic therapy, then you have mental practice, strengthening exercise, virtual reality, then bilateral arm usage. So, and there are a lot of instruments that we have which aid in improving the hand function. So, as and when what is required for your patient, that needs to be subsequently added. Okay, coming on to the use of adaptive equipments or orthotics and wheelchair. So, according to the condition of the patient and according to the ambulatory status and cardiovascular capacity of the patient, because ultimately whatever assistive device we are using, the patient has to move it on his own. So considering all these factors, appropriate adaptive equipments can be prescribed to them. Next important aspect, the third important aspect, is home or community based care. So this is something we feel it's being neglected most of the time, but it is very important, because what happens, okay, the patient is discharged from the hospital, now they've been coming for regular physiotherapy sessions, but what happens at home? Are they able to move around? Are they able to carry on their activities of daily living? And if they are not, what are the barriers in the environment that are coming before them that is not helping them to be independent? So they need to be closely evaluated, and accordingly they need to be modified so that the patient becomes independent in a home setting and they are able to continue with the exercise program. So it is really very important that the first 3 months, which they say is a golden period, is well taken care by a therapist, and the patient is given regular exercises, and even we have seen improvements in long term also if the patient continues performing their exercises regularly. So to summarize the entire post-stroke care, we would say there is acute phase or the hospital phase, where early we start, better it is for the patient. So rehabilitation, once we get a nod from the neurologist, the rehabilitation is started in the acute phase itself, and then the patient goes in for rehabilitation facility, and or we may say as the OPD basis, and thereafter once from the OPD the patient is discharged, then home care or community based care is being given. Relevant modifications are done so that the patient is able to get integrated into the society well. So again, I would repeat, the first 3 months after stroke are often when the rapid healing occurs. So this golden period has to be tapped properly. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope this video is able to provide you a brief guideline about how a physical therapist play an important role in rehabilitation and improvement of quality of life of a patient post-stroke. Thank you.